Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Nadeau Sensei's virtual dojo. We have Kenny Cron running the systems in the background, and I'll be the moderator today. Nadeau Sensei's just about ready to go. I'm going to put up a title slate for our recording, and then as soon as Nadeau Sensei is ready, I'll switch over to him. Please stand by. Good evening, Sensei.
Hey, good evening, people. Okay, we'll start sitting. After a few stories here, we'll stand up. I want to go over some, the couple, repeat on the chants again to remind you. What are we on tonight? Circle center, the elusive self. Okay, we're heading towards self, people. We are. Tonight we'll try to put a dent in it, okay? So bear with me. Okay. I was talking to Cruz, and she told me a little story. I thought it was good. I don't know if this depiction is going to do it, but she's a center type as opposed to the circular type. She's a center type, okay? And so she was working her center. She wants to get a job at a particular place. And she was working her center, pumping the pump, and then realizing that she was starting to strain a little bit. Okay, bing, that's your clue, something's up here. Trying to do more than what the center alone can do at that moment, okay? Once you realize you're starting to strain, easy. If you got plenty of time, that center was balanced before you started to add more and strain it. And then she did a very good move. She called the boss lady at this place she wanted to work. So she called the lady who runs this circle realm job and said, could you lay that, what you're looking for, where you guys are going? It's a school. Where you guys are going with this school? What's your philosophy? What are you up to? And this lady explained more clearly the purpose of the school, or laid out more the situation. As the lady laid out the situation better and clearer, Cruz's center said, whoa, yes, I can fit in here. So the center realizes that circle is perfect for it. So center and then circle and realizing, ooh, there's a fit. Yes, this is my job. This is my place. So she got the job anyway. So did you follow my dumb diagram here? Is that a ha or a ha?
Seemed clear.
Okay, thank you. I got to see at least one thumb up. Okay. Next story. Way back in the day when I was hanging out with dogs, dog people, at that time I happened to be a dog whisperer. Those were my little sidelines. And so this lady, the head of the club I was related with, knowing I could do some things a bit different than other people, said, could you check in about my son, a young guy, and he's trying to find his work. And so I said, okay, and I did my thing. I said, oh, sales. Oh yeah, sales. I said to her, sales. And she said, oh, no. And she mentioned this big amount of jobs that he had as sales. And I forget whether it was 4 or 8 or 12, but he's a young guy, but he had all these jobs at sales that wouldn't work out and he quit. Okay. So my sense now, if I'm going to lay that out better, would be, oh, okay, you're still a salesman. Let's figure he's centered. But what he hasn't found in the realm around him is the proper product that he could get behind or sell gladly, honestly, happily. So he had this, but I surmised that his selling jobs that didn't pan out were products he couldn't get behind. He wasn't an encyclopedia salesman or a vacuum sales or whatever he was blying with. He just had to find out what product that he could blend, match with, so the center and the circle and the circle and the center are clicking together. Boom. Okay, did you follow that story? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Dusty. Dusty mentioned last week, good presentation, Dusty. Dusty on?
Dusty is here.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm here.
okay, all right. Don't need any input, you can just listen. Okay, so let's see if this diagram will do it. So Dusty is more circular, situational or oriented. Of course, there's a center there. Whenever you get a circle, there's going to be a center, but it's a, I don't know, limited center, for lack of words right now. And when in the classroom, the kids go too crazy, he gets pulled out of his center and he loses it with the class. Basically is what he said, okay? Dusty, bear with my interpretation of what you said, okay? Okay, so we're saying, oh, okay. What you have to do is shift your focus from orienting to the kids and stuff. Yes, that's your world, but you're not doing too well with it, okay? So now we'll shift our focus to the up and down center, and it goes much deeper than you're used to, okay? So don't just have Dusty's normal, oh yeah, deeper, oh yeah. It really have to sense deeper of the up and down beats of things. And that makes us the better teacher with wild kids. He'll be, I don't know, twice as effective or something. So we have a character from the circle energies, but he's not contending well. That character's got to double up, get fuller. I like that, get fuller. So that's when we'll use the up and down center energy beats to mix up teacher, whatever your title is or your job description. Is that okay? I may have said that last week, but you fit into a pattern here tonight. Is that okay?
No, thank you for that too. And this week,
No.
no, it was very helpful what you said, because I get ahead of myself. So I appreciate what you said.
Yeah, well, this guy up here he will get ahead of, he's almost leaning forward. He doesn't have the depth of ground to be more present in the here and now. So same thing. Nothing new has been added here. Of course you get ahead of yourself. You're out in the world and you're in the, and wow, and you're in the, and that's it, bing. For all intents and purposes, you fall over. We're going to give you, if you work the center more, your center, your energies, and the character you, the fuller character you, the doubled up character, the fuller character, he should be able to contend with whatever. Okay, be present with whatever. He's there with whatever. Yeah. Kind of a basic Aikido schematic, what we're in one sense trying to do with the Aikido. We present you with more and more stronger attacks, variation of attacks. And if you can't contend with them, we say, no, get more centered here. Okay. More than if you're an awareness circular type, we need more than that. Deeper. Work it as an individual unit, the center in that case. Okay. Center gets better, circle gets clearer. Circle gets clearer, center can get better. They work in tandem, in relationship. Are we okay so far? Yeah, Yoshika here. Spence, Amy Shipley. Okay, and it's stories. One more. Again, I mentioned it, but with how I'm kind of trying to lay this out tonight so far. The article in the paper about people getting anxious because the world's starting to open up. Those are the same people who got anxious when the world was closing down. Okay, so what's going on? As the world opens up, the centered you has to be better character person, you, to contend with the opening up. Now, I would surmise because the opening up of the world is probably going to be a little bit different than the world from a year and a half ago. Okay, is that all right? Therefore, just that alone tells me to do a bit better job with the center. As the center intakes more energies, the energies know what's going on. And as you play with those and allow those, let those mix, I say, let those mix, then there won't be anxiety, because all that people call anxiety is just all that stuff trying to happen. You don't know what's happening, and you get anxious because it's moving around or affecting you somehow. That's the mixing stuff. That's you. Okay. So where are we? So keep that in mind if you're feeling edgy about going back to work in the world out there or whatever. Just work your center a bit more, and it should equalize with whatever the world is going to need from you. You don't have to know all the details. Trust the intelligence of these energies, of how the system works. Okay, so I don't have to tell the energies that are mixing up better what exactly I need. I just say, here's the problem, what you're going to do, boom. And the energies are inherently intelligent, boom. And there'll be the proper qualities of energy to develop me to be back in the world again. Okay, are we all right? I think I'm finished with that series. That's a basic. Anything important that you catch the basics, right? Anything, problems that we can cover right now within the next couple of minutes here? Anybody? You got this pattern down, right? Yeah? Okay. All right. Let's move on. We'll stand. We're going to chant. Or we're going to move our arms first. Anyway, changing positions. Be prepared to stand. Okay. Okay, we here? Yes. Feet? Yes. Okay. Basically, we're going over what was just said, a little different format. Bit of presence. Bit of settledness. We're positioning by being present, where that will help us line up to the center and circle creation that we're in. Okay. Along the way, remember the brain map? Let me think about this. Let me figure it out. Let me see if anything's happening. No. Settle. You get the beginnings of feeling, continue finer feeling, continue sensing, continue to be finer sensing. So just follow that brain map diagram thing down to finer levels of things. Okay, so just file that away. Okay. There is a circle. Okay. The circle is the situation you're in. your world, and big time word to be your creation circle. Okay. Now, the energies from circle move in, touch a center point, and beat back out. The sense of this game is when they come in, potentially they're touching a little better dimension, and when they beat out, they're beating out finer vibrations of energies or finer level of energies. Okay. So for example, if there's a problem here and I can't figure it out at all, easy, lining up to that problem, the energies of that come in, easy, a sense of this is a finer dimension. At which time, maybe I won't see anything different. It's still the same dumb problem. I don't know what to do with it. Possible. But as you continue, you'll reach a place here with that problem. Energies in, easy, easy. Energies rebeat back out. There'll be a little better sense. Oh, wait a minute. And that's when you begin to see some daylight or some possible possibilities. It starts to open up for you because you're looking at it at a finer dimension of itself. Is that okay? So energies out, energies in. In after a bit is definitely an opportunity, a finer dimension here, click, and finer dimension energies out. Well, energies in. Click, sense of finer dimensions, easy. Energies beat out. Energies beat in. Easy. Your experiential sense will begin to be different. You'll, yeah, this horrible problem is not horrible anymore. It's something's getting easier, something's getting clearer, something's whatever. Okay. Now, let's see. Oakland Amy, I think I tried to mention this to you. Don't know if I said it well then, but you like being in the forest. Wow, I feel good in the forest. And I say, great. But if you're going to do this work, if you're going to be a researcher, an inquirer, say, oh, this is nice. Energies come in, forest energies. Next level, they go out finer of forest. What's your sense of it there? And again, it'll take more than one beat. Energies of the forest come in, easy, inferring a dimensional click. Energies go out. They're forest energies, but at a finer vibration rate, whatever word you want to use. And as you're settling, remember, feeling, finer feeling, sensing. As you're also settling and sensing, you can sense better, much more about the forest. I mean, it'll really talk to you. You think it's talking to you now. Do this for a while. It will share things about itself that are like, wow. Okay. So that's the circle of things. Center of things. Different unit. Let's say different. No, I don't want to use the word unit. Different piece. So take a moment. Click. Let go of circle now. Now center. Center. The energies related to center move up and they move down. Okay. Again, as they move up and down, on the down, we infer potential dimensional shift there. Boom. Click as if the floor is a little deeper, the pool is a little bigger. It's not a puddle, it's a little bit more of a big puddle, beginning of a pool, and the energies from there come up finer, better, clearer, Okay. Boom. So both of those, the circle energies can create a character or will create a character. The up and down energies create a character. Same character, but with both of these forces in harmony, the character is, I don't know, full blown, much fuller. Not only does he believe this circle stuff, but he's got the guts, if you would, the intestinal fortitude to be present with it. Okay. To be a man of his world, something like that. Okay, so center, circle, circle, center. Okay. If that's okay, just a reminder there. And again, one more time, be distinct. Don't be a circular and be saying, okay, center. It gets a little confusing in your system. Be a little more concise. I do circle, I do circle. When I change, easy, center. Now I do center. If I'm moving off of center, yes, that was center, that was very nice. Now, hit, circle, circle. Okay, so don't get muddled in your own pattern. Clarity. Let the clarity that's there show. Know when to pause. Know when to. Know when you're changing your focus. For lack of words, I don't mean your focus. You can sense focus. Note when you're changing patterns. Whatever the right words are. You got the drift of what I'm trying to say here. Yeah. Okay. Same pattern, but using sounds. Where should we start? Let's do oh. Now, simple sounds. I'm going to use for center and O for circle. You do whatever you want. Okay. So again, whenever I ask OSensei, I mentioned this before, about, well, which is which, this way or that way, you'd say just be consistent. Whatever feels right to you, but be consistent. If you say, after a while, is definitely a center, then it's a center. If you say O is definitely a circle, then yeah, it's definitely a circle. Okay. In the early stages of this, I also leave myself a bit open to be corrected in case it says, no, the other way around. Okay. So could I say it that way? Okay. So center is vibing, let's say. And from that center, whatever sense you have of center post, a pillar, whatever your sense of center is. From that center, there's a vibration out from that center. Okay. Again, remember the brain map. It will start there, but my God, don't stay there. Keep settling where you start to get into feeling a vibration. Keep settling where there's a sense experience of ahing. Okay, so don't be, dumb and stay with oh. You just bounce it back and forth there. Ain't nothing much gonna happen. So don't mind those couple of minutes, whatever, if you're going to practice chanting or play with chanting, for it to naturally do that. Finer, da, da. Okay, enough said on that. Let's continue. When the goes out to the circle, feels that touch. Could I say? Okay. It feels that touch from because it's a partner. It responds back and it responds back to the center with oh. So the O vibration, if you would, touches the center. The center feels that, okay, sense feels it, whatever words. And in feeling that, click, now it's centered, Oz turn. And from center, okay, and it goes out. In my case, apparently went out finer, further, a bit fuller. Also, I noticed, whatever, and touches the circle. See, not just touches the circle here, but I noticed it touched it deeper, touched the circle deeper, fuller. Okay? Again, the circle felt that touch and is responding. And the circle responds back to the center. Oh. I noticed the sound was longer, more comfortable, and that the center seemed to have been touched deeper from the circle energies, okay? No big deal, just notice, sense, feel, notice things, not to have your head trip. The center, having felt the input from circle touching it, is enlivened a bit by that also. And it itself comes more alive, center, okay? Almost like where she said, my God, you look good today. The guy will light up. No? Do you remember, Brad, when you were single? Got a certain compliment, you lit up. Yeah. Anyway, within your own system, kind of works that way. Where are we? We're here on the center. And from that center, sense of feeling it, center. And from that center, a vibration of radiation, oh, I like the way, for me, how it touched the circle a little fuller, like I'm moving this way. It touched the circle more fuller. There was something else in there and I lost it already. I lost it, the word I had. Now, click, circle. Circle felt that nice emanation from awe and was touched by it. And by law, has to respond. Oh. Ooh. That O vibration touched the center that's improving. Mine's like getting deeper and fuller, more alive. Especially the depth part. I don't know, like she reminded me to put my shoes on. I sometimes walk out of the house in my slippers. Got you got to say, where's your shoes? Sorry, dumb example. Anyway, let's take a pause here. Are you okay with that sense of things? Oopa. Got to cover them all? I think so. We didn't do Ya-Yi. We should do a minute Ya-Yi. But let's take a moment, and then we'll go back and chant Ya-Yi, mommy, okay? Anything up to date here on this vibes touches that? that feels it, responds back with its vibe, that they're reciprocal, they're in tandem, okay? And what we're trying to do in getting balance is setting things up so the balance that's inherent can start to happen. Better the center, better the circle. Better the circle, better the center. Okay, and so it goes throughout creation. It'll start to vibe finer. So the character following along with these vibes will be a finer vibing character. You'll get past body sense. You'll have a sense of a body, but it'll be more like an energy body. Maybe you'll bump into chakra body. Wow. It's just a dimension along the way. Very nice. I'm not putting it down. But yeah, of course, should be so. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Okay? So that there's even going to be eventually, potentially a universal character you. Okay, so as you go more full bore, the big center, the big circle, not that you have to go out bigly. OSensei would say, just sense it finer. You'll have a sense it's big, but you don't have to go out. He didn't like that. He thought we'd dissipate, I think was his word. Sense of, with these dimensional changes, yes, they'll appear bigger, but you don't have to go out bigger with them. Just pick up the vibration rate that's there. Okay, just be okay with the vibration rate that's there. Okay, we all right so far? Any problems before we jump back to chanting for a minute? No problems. You're understanding this fully. We all right? Yeah. Okay, one more chant.
Sensei, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
You said you had a nice expression for center, and it was fortitude to be present with what is. And I like that. That was really cool. So I was wondering if you have the same sort of thing for circle.
Gee, yeah, hang on. I want to go back to the fortitude thing. Yeah, sometimes people bullshit you and they're great in their own mind and sort of telling you how great they are, but you sort of check them out and you say, he ain't got it. Why is this wimp talking about being a fantastic martial artist? This guy's a wimp. If I hit him, I'm going to kill him. You know, yeah, you get the actual presence. Okay.
Yep.
And people who have that sense of centered presence recognize other people who have centered presence. And they'll recognize people who are lolly and overdoing this a bit, or trying to make that everything when it's no, this and that and that and this. Blah, blah, blah. Where am I going? Okay. Does the circle have? Sorry, Sean, I got a little bit lost here.
No, it was good. It was good. All great. I just like the expression fortitude to be present with.
Okay.
And I was wondering if circle, yeah.
Okay, the circle guy, I don't know if this fits in, but this is what's coming from right now. A circle guy will be more aware of his surroundings. Circle guy will be a little more social. Circle guy will know if his guest's drink is empty. You'll pick that up right away because he's aware at that level. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
See, what we said to Dusty was, Dusty, you're so into this that when it starts moving around, it pulls you off. Okay. So for you especially, you've got to get more of the center of things to help compensate. So then you'll get both. It'll be great. You'll have your loving careness, and you'll also have this, whatever it does there for him. And that makes up a much better you. You won't lose your caring, but you won't fall over. Best I can word things right now. Is that okay, Sean?
Yeah, that's great. How about pervasive? You know, like the idea, like being all aware all over the place, pervasive awareness.
If you continue training,
Yep, of
your
course,
awareness
yeah.
increases.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
That's what happens in finer dimensions.
Hmm.
It'll not, and then it's finer and finer. Zen story. Famous swordsman, rich. He's got his nice house with the walls surrounding. And he's so rich, he doesn't carry his own sword. He's got a sword boy who carries his sword. One evening, he's out in the garden enjoying his garden. And he senses something's wrong. But right at that time, the kid who's carrying the sword said, I don't care how good he is. I got the sword. I could get him. At which time the guy says, oh, quick, hand me my sword. There's enemies in the gate. You understand? That's just an awareness level. Yeah, no big deal here. A clunkhead wouldn't be aware of anything in that garden. Okay? This guy was at a finer dimensional level, naturally, of being aware. So he picked something was amiss, picked it up. Okay? Yeah, good enough. Finish with Sean. Good enough. Where the hell are we? Time to chant? Is that where we're going?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this one, changing positions. This one I introduced to you because I picked it up from OSensei and thought I have to leave a few things behind here. So do with this what you will. He really liked. Now here's how I use it. Ya-yi is my center, ma-mi is my circle. Okay, whichever way you like. Sensei said just be consistent. Okay. Okay, but Sensei liked that chant. He said for him it was a fast way of getting to someplace special. Okay. Okay, I'll start center. Take a moment, center. Not just a word, center. Okay, I'm going to start from center. It's not just a word. It's center. Some degree of feeling, sense feeling. I'm not going to feel a center. Yeah, but a sense feeling of center. Wait, could be clearer for me. Center. There it is. It's shaping up better. I'm even adjusting to it. Boom. Okay. So whatever you want to call that. Okay. From that center, it radiates out, lack of words. Touches the circle. Now, click, change now. Circle felt that, even though it wasn't a great presentation, it felt something. And circle responds. Mommy moo mo. Touching the center, and they're both affected. Center was affected by, for me, it's a her touching. When he touches her, she is affected and she responds. And I don't care if male, female, however you set that up. Just be consistent. Okay, easy. We're at circle. We at circle? I lost track. So circle, circle, easy. Circle. All this vibration of mommy, moo, mo, which touches the center. And I'll take a moment. I'm switching over from highlighting circle and switching to now highlighting the center itself, having been touched, wants to respond. Ya, you, yeah, yo. Goes out and touches her. I could feel for me in that vibration, there was something being said, as if he was saying, for me, he was saying something to her. I didn't quite catch the dialogue, but they're starting to converse. Okay, whatever. Things that as you practice with this, you should begin to expect to happen as you go finer dimensions, finer dimensions. Circle got touched. For lack of words, feels his touch. Sets up to respond. Mommy, moo, me, mo. Again, I'm starting to hear things, almost like she said, I'm here to take care of you. There was a big mother sense for me. You get whatever you get. This is me doing me in my world, okay? Center's been touched and affected. Center, feeling all of that, wants to respond. From the center, in response, ya, you, yeah, yo. I don't think the dialogue is important, but what he said to her for me was, thank you for what you just gave me, presented. I'll always be here for you. I'll always be here. Whenever you want to touch me, I'm here. I'll be touched and I'll thank you back. Okay, don't worry about the conversation. I'm just alluding that after a while, your sense of things really gets acute. Okay, no big deal, no big deal. We're at circle. She felt that touch. She's prepping to respond. Circle, circle. Mommy, moo, me, mo. Interesting. This is the second time it's happened tonight where the circle sort of, I don't know what to say, ask, help push the center to be deeper. Okay, I noticed it on the earlier practice, and here it was again. Just no big deal. I just note things and file them away. I don't stop my practice and start rolling on that. Okay, that would be dumb. Excuse me, it would be dumb. Stay on your practice. Any stories that crop up, great, file them away. Experience. Okay, so we got a circle. Circle felt that touch from the center and responds, mommy, moo, me, mo. Center feels that, maybe lights up a bit or goes a little deeper, fuller, and responds back. Ya, you, yeah, yo. I'm starting to, by the way, and another aside, I'm starting to feel, I guess, character. This guy in the middle of this, naturally kind of fuller. I feel fuller in a nice way. And I wasn't looking for who the character is, but it was so strongly there that I mentioned it. Was that good enough? Okay, now if you like chanting, go ye and chant. Okay, it's not a 2-minute practice, not if you really want to inquire and get into finer dimensions. You got to hang out with it for a while. Okay. And I found the more I hung out with whatever way I was chanting, it just naturally got finer, finer, real nice. Okay. Because of the harmonious relationship, they'll naturally create a character who is on center. Okay, so in that case, they're like mom and dad kind of thing. Okay, have that same creative or breeding capability. So when those two are more in harmony, this character on center can start to experience himself as that character at that level. Okay. So we've got to, again, if you do circle only, if you're just majoring that, there'll be a character there. If you do a center, there'll be a character there. Now there's just one character, but when you do it that way, you're getting the fullness of the character, because you're getting both attributes from the circle character and attributes from the center part of character. Don't know how to say that well, but is that clear enough? Anything here? Shall we move on? Okay. Whew, I gotta move. Now, when we get balance, why I'm going over balance again is because to put it proper, to get squared away, or what we've been doing creates a unit, to have a good unit. The self is there and it can begin to show as the dimensional level of the unit, or the combination of harmony of center and circle. As that gets better, the self that's there can begin to make itself known. Is that okay? Is that clear enough? Okay. So self exists all along the way, but if you get really tight, gnarly, whatever, the self is there, but it's like a drop or a little tiny self. So that person doesn't really have an inner self to work off of, not really. But as we square away, center, circle, open, finer dimensions, then point of balance there where we can say, okay, self. Okay. At first, it won't be the actual self, but you'll have a sense of something, and that's okay. All right. And then we'll approach it again, and maybe there'll be a finer sense of something. Okay. When it is actually there, you'll know. So don't worry if we have to make an approach towards it. I don't have the words here, but is that good enough for right now? It better be, because I don't know what else to say. So Amy, who's hot to trot for self, Amy Oakland, who's hot to trot for self, I just want to make sure, it's not clear to me yet, that she understands the importance of the unit, the establishment of a center, circle, and whatever level, Bobby level. Okay, not good enough really. I settle, I open, center and circle. Here's and Robert characters there. There's a unit. At a finer level, can Robert pull it off? Maybe. Nadeau would probably pull it off because he's finer of this set. And when he touches self, self can begin to support better that unit. But because it's eventually is a finer self, it enhances that unit to be a better level of itself. So a unit to self, and for lack of words, self responds back. Self shows it's there. And because it's like more first, it can support the unit that you use to get to it gets supported back. Is that okay? See, I don't want you to touch a self and go loosey-goosey on me, because there'll be that tendency of going into the awareness half of self. Wow, I really love it because you're in loosey-goosey country. Wow. But it won't work out in the big picture. It will not work out. I'm trying to save you eons of time here, okay? So use your pattern, whatever pattern you're using, center circle, whatever you're using to reference that, and whatever the character is that's bred there. And through that, we'll call up self, okay? Are we kind of okay so far? Sorry, a lot of these words are new for me in trying to present them. Okay? Autumn, are you on tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to jump just for you because I picked you up. Anyway, your center to your circle, pretty good. Yes, you got more work to do. Yes, yes, yes. But it's sort of almost a natural. Okay? You're in your job, you're actress to the theater, whatever words that you would use. You may have worked hard and all of that, but also I think you've had kind of an easy shot. You kind of clicked in there. Yeah, I know you may not agree because you had to sweat a little bit too, but it was kind of natural. Okay, so far?
Okay.
Say yes. Okay, bear with me here. But what you really want is to get this self, you're going to sound like Amy, the self that carries everything else, that supports everything else. That's what yourself, I bumped into her the other day, that's what yourself is telling me, that it would love to be here as self in the life that you've established. So the acting career thing, that yes, but it wants to be self running that. And God knows that could be glorious. I mean, we don't see that every day of the week, a self running the show. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're on the right track. Yourself really wants to do this. So it's setting you up. You just need to practice a couple of, basics, learn our language, if you would. But it looks good to me. Real quick aside, you're naturally beautiful. You're young and all of that. And there's a lot of beauty there. But when this self becomes first, that beauty, I don't know, it's one of those things where the lady could be 65 or something, and she's still gorgeous. Just as this beauty. There he is again, the cat. It would just be there. Another thing was your presence. That's the word, presence. That as the self is there, your degree of presence will be like, oh my, wow. I mean, everyone else behind the stage will say, oh my God, does she have presence? I mean, it'll be like, wow. So keep on track. You're on track. Good. We'll just clean up your, first entering basics here. Okay, we're going to run out of time. So I was going to ask you to tell stories where you first had a sense of self, but I think we're going to run out of time and won't actually touch self a bit. Okay, I asked Katya the other night, I said, Katya, what's your sense of self? It's not like we sit around all the time talking about my work. She's got her work, I got my work. But I said, Katya, what's your sense of self? And she told an interesting story. She said, when I was 10, she said, I knew there was a difference between I and me. Okay, good, something distinct there, good. And she said, when the me was in effect, she could do things. And we're talking about a 10-year-old. She'd say, for example, I'd go to the lake and go swimming with my family, and they would freak out because I'd go way out in the middle of the lake. It's Switzerland, they got big lakes out there. Way out to the middle of the lake and just feel great. Okay. And not be affected by the folks freaking out there. But it was the me. When she had the me, then she's not going to drown kind of thing. She continues the story around the same age. She wants to play soccer with the boys, but she's a girl. So they give her a little bit of bad time, but she wants to play. She's shifting into a me again because she wants to play. And there's an adult male who's like, oh my God, a girl. And that miffed her a bit. So she really me'd. And he was the goalkeeper, this adult male. And she blasted that ball more than once past that goalkeeper. He was really embarrassed. A 10-year-old girl just blasting the ball right past him, right through him. A me. To me, that's the beginning sense of a self trying to show. And how the effect, because that's there to some degree, okay? To some degree, has a strong effect. Is that, are you following me? You following the story? OSensei, as a young boy on the beach, had a very similar type approach. I was going over some old notes about that the other day. Very similar to sort of like how Katja presented it. Because remember, he first tried to use his mind to call up help. Didn't work. And he had this, I'm trying to remember how he worded it, his feeling. He had this sense of something, okay? Remember, he's only a little kid, but he had this sense of something. And when that sense of something was here, he noticed the body became very important, and the body was mixing up a stronger body. So whenever he had a sense of this thing, then the body would mix up a stronger body. And he moved fast. I mean, it's going from the weakest kid in town to the champion was fast. Okay, but he had this sense of something. All right. When he first laid it out to me, I wasn't quite sure what piece was being presented, but then in later notes, he said something about this piece that, oh, I know what that is. That's self. Okay. So even as a little kid, he had a little sense of self, and it was there enough to start to generate this. Okay. So we all have some self. We've bumped into it before. I want to listen to your stories if you're following my stories here. Anyway, square away, settle down, square away, sense of settling down into a finer dimension, basics, easy settle, finer dimension. Retain your proper squared awayness, your unit. Okay. I think OSensei like that word, unit. And within the unit, there someplace is the elusive self. Easy. And now self. As if I'm saying self, can you show yourself? Okay. And I clear the stage from all the energies of the unit. So I don't hang on to Bobby. I don't hang on to the world I'm in. I don't hang on to that. Okay. So when I do this, that's my style of downtiming, clearing the deck, for self to show. Now, at first, of course, as the self shows a bit more, and it will, okay, it's going to quickly be covered by all these energies, of course. But as I do succeeding patterns with it, as I redo or rebeat that, then after a while, the energies of center circle and creation I'm in are less and less or less confining or finer of nature. They're not thick ropes. They're finer, at which time the self itself can show more of itself or be more present as itself. Okay. And again, don't mind the time it takes as we make this approach to when it itself has to show it's there. And if you keep clearing the decks, it's there and it will show. Okay. We all have a self. I was going to play with that a bit, but also I want to hear the story. So I'm sorry. I didn't time it fantastic. I knew that was going to happen. Let's tell stories. Open mic. Did you not ever have some experience where you're in a situation and boom, it was almost like magic. Something was different. And this and that all just worked out. Okay. Wada's got one when his car was going off the road into a deep, and and there was this feeling, some sense of something, a flavor of something, and how the car reacted, and how instead of continuing down over the cliff more and more, how it actually moved into a big tree so it could be stopped there instead of continuing on over. But he said, like magic. I remember mine on a highway. I got my old 50 Cadillac. I'm moving down the highway, you can imagine. This is a weird highway. In the middle of the highway is a signal light and cars can cross over. This is the middle of the highway. And some young kids ran the red purposely, screwing around with teenagers. And boom, and the car started to put on the brakes and whatever. I saw him at the last minute when the other cars cleared, and there he was, and there I was. I think our bumpers touched because my Cadillac started to spin. Okay. And at this time, there's this, I can't remember, it's been a long time ago, but this kind of like, it's okay. It wasn't, it's okay. It was just a feeling of, it's okay. I was enjoying the ride. I was enjoying the spin of the car. I remember thinking, oh, this is like a great Aikido move. He moves, I move, da, da, da. And I thought, that was great fun. And after my car stopped spinning, I was like laughing. It was just like, kind of joyful. It was fun. And I started to drive back because all the other drivers, the kids kept going, of course, but all the other drivers had pulled over and were talking about how why we all could have got killed and whatever. And I started to drive in to join the conversation. And I noticed some of them spotted I was smiling and laughing to myself. And I realized my being there in that state they wouldn't understand it. So I turned and went back on my journey. But I remember that flavor. I would call that a self-presence, and things worked out. Now, let me hear your stories. You heard Katya's, you heard mine, you heard Jack's, sorta. Not one of you has ever had an occurrence. I'm gonna go eat pizza if you don't say something.
I've had one sensei, of course, and a young man riding a motorbike pretty fast, and I was on a road that I'd been on a lot of times, and there were some really nice parts of it that I enjoyed riding fast. This particular big corner I was on, this is in Australia, and they have very, very big trucking rigs coming around the corner. I felt the bike start to slip. It's starting to go, and I can see this truck coming, and the bike's going to slip underneath it. Now,
let me tell the people, not good, because the trucks in Australia are double trucks.
Sure.
There's a lot of tires. You don't want to slip under that one. It's bad enough our trucks, but in Australia, tires all over the place. So go ahead.
For sure. And at that point of panicking and going, oh shit, I found myself looking down on the motorbike, me on the motorbike,
Mhm.
yet still feeling myself watching.
Yeah.
And
So you had
the whole
both going on at
scene,
the same time?
yeah.
Cool.
And then I could feel myself, and I felt an adjustment in my body, and I was gone. I was through the corner, and next minute, bang, back in my body. I'm going, holy, what was that? But
Yeah.
what was really, really vivid was that separation and how bright everything was, and how I felt completely safe and held by something.
Yeah.
Until I went
Again,
back
back
into
to-
my body.
Yeah.
I was shaking, but that,
Yeah, back to Katya's, when the me was there, she felt totally safe going way out into the lake and not worrying what the family's panicking about. In my car thing, it was like, what a kick this is. What fun. Yeah. And anyway, so yes, thank you.
Yeah, I had,
Interesting that he had that self looking at the body and still feeling at the same time the bike. Go ahead.
yeah, this is Amy. I had two experiences that I want
This
to
is
share.
Florida, Amy.
Florida, yeah.
You must designate yourself, or the girl from Brooklyn.
And
Bronx.
Amy, could you turn on your camera, please? Amy, please turn on
No,
your
no,
camera.
I can't. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
stressed. Sorry.
She's 3 hours later in Florida. You know what she looks like at this time of the night. Leave her alone. Yeah.
Thank you for your understanding.
I'm being more socially aware these days.
I just
My
love it.
circle is coming into play.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, here's my two. One is I was in a car accident a couple of years ago, and I got hit by a truck, and the car started to move, and I was totally in the flow with the direction of the car. There was no emotion that I felt. I just was present in that flow. The car took down a pole, and the car stopped. I got out of the car, and I was totally centered, grounded, totally okay. Okay. The
You
second,
weren't shaking. You
I
weren't.
wasn't shaking. I mean, the firemen came and the EMS, and they couldn't believe I was so okay. Wasn't hurt at all. The second experience I had was I'm at the Aikido retreat many, many years ago, and I'm
Mine?
yes, yours, and I'm singing The Rose. And when I start to sing, I practiced it a number of times, and I was pretty cool with it. And I'm singing it, and all of a sudden I realize that I am out of control. I'm not singing it the way that I practiced it. And so I couldn't stop and do a do-over. So I just let go, and I went into the flow, and I allowed whatever to come out. And you ran up afterwards, you ran up on the stage, and you picked me up and hugged me. And I realized that what you saw was that I had entered this flow, so what I'm getting is that, and I want to check this with you, is that when
You
the
can call me and we'll dialogue it.
I'm sorry?
You can call me and we'll dialogue about it. You want to check something with me?
Yeah,
Anyway.
I just want to ask one thing, just one thing. So when the self appears, one of the ways that we know the self is there is when it's in a flow, when we find ourselves.
No.
No.
Self doesn't flow. Self is present. And the flowing things go on more naturally, harmoniously. The self itself, I wouldn't say flows.
No, I
Could be
mean,
corrected one day, but
what I
no.
mean by
In
flow
that
is,
presence flow. And I'm aware of the flow because I'm present. I'm
Okay.
experiencing the flow, but I'm present.
yeah, so there's a presence, and the presence is able to go with the flow. There's no distinction between.
That's its job.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Self's presence allows that level of creation to go on more harmoniously. The original of that, or not the original, but finer, that that presence of self creation, your world, your style unfolded there. Self was there. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So I just didn't want to get people dizzy with selves. Myself is going to spin around here. I no dizzy selves here, okay? Time's moving. Somebody, good story for us?
Sensei,
Yo,
this is Andrew from San Jose. How are you
yes,
doing?
Andrew, go.
So it was my birthday. I was out in the park with my girlfriend. We were celebrating, and we were in like a baseball field, empty baseball stadium, and this what I would later learn was a homeless man, and he was basically cussing up a storm. It sounded like he was on something.
Great guy. Okay.
Yeah. And so he was coming towards our way. And I mean, since he was on something, I don't think he was aware that we were there. He came within, I would say, about 10 to 15 feet away from us. And I would probably say he was like 5'9", maybe 180, 200. He was just on something like,
Okay, go.
and you know, my girlfriend started going into a fetal position, so definitely not in a place to do anything. And right then and there, it was just like, okay. So I just kind of let go and I just started staring at him. And like I was looking straight into his eye. And of course, I saw that he was just out of it completely. He was still cussing, but I remember very distinctly the urge to look down, kind of like in a very submissive body language, but it was just, I just continually maintained eye contact. And and it wasn't till later that I realized I was also smiling at him.
Yeah. No, to look down, you didn't need what your girlfriend was doing.
Yeah. Mhm.
See, the energies doesn't know how to open, let them flow around, whatever. So the energies brought her into her position.
Yeah.
Thank you. One more.
Do we complete with you, Andrew?
Oh, I was just gonna say, you know, after a while, he just walked off.
Should be so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, I have one. This is Amy. Amy from Oakland.
Thank you, Amy from Oakland.
So I was living in Japan, and this was back in '95. And there was, I was on a train, and there were all these people just packed, you know, Japanese trains, right? Just packed with people. And there was this guy that came on who was, he had this like fake gun or something. I don't remember actually. He had something, and he kept going bang, 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 bang. And he was like pointing it at people, and people were freaked out. Literally, they were just like, whoa, getting away from him. And I did a little bit kind of what Andrew did, where I just looked at him and I was like,
Before you get there,
yeah.
What's going on? What went on before you looked at him, before you approached him, before you took his gun away and broke his damn wrist?
I was
What?
I was taking stock of the situation, and I noticed that people were afraid. But then when I looked at him, he didn't seem like he fit. Like he wasn't being.
He wasn't a danger.
He didn't have a like an energy of being violent. It was more like he was just crazy. I hate to say that word, right? You know,
as you get balanced and the centered, you ought to be able to read the circle situation that you're involved in better. So if nothing else, there's a nice amount of balance there that worked out nice or something.
Yeah.
And again, the balance is what we need, and that's why we practice with it all the time. I want you to be clear on it, because it's through the balance where we can tap the self. Okay, without that unit, that squared awayness, whatever you want to call it, however you want to set it up, we need that to properly touch the self, and then for the self to support. I think you used that word a couple of weeks back, where self supports.
If I were to think about this, because this was like so long ago, right? But if I kind of
No,
really
no, no, no.
recollect-
Amy, you're a young lady, you long time ago. It's 1952 or whatever.
if I really reflect on it, there was a moment of calm
Yeah,
that
okay.
there's like everything's happening out here, but then there's that calmness in me.
And calmness again often happens when there's harmony. It could be very calm. And there's many different words that'll happen at different levels of balance or vibration rates of balance. Somebody will touch one that's calm. Somebody else will say, no, no, it's peaceful. Somebody else will say, oh, no, it just vibes nice. What a beautiful harmonic or something. So at different levels, that meeting place will produce its own word. And yes, so yes, calm is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of people think calm is the goal. Well, if you're very nervous and you settle down and you get calm, we can say, okay, you're happy now. And they will be, because they were nervous before, now they're calm. But in a spiritual or in developing work, calm for us should be telling us that there's balance at that level, and let's move through the balance doorway into, if we're working character, who are you now that your parents are balanced? Who are you? Or move through that same calm to self. You show yourself here.
And what was cool about that too is that as I was interacting with him, he sat down next to me and we were talking. He didn't understand the word I was saying. And I just started talking to him in English, saying, oh, you know, the gun, you shouldn't have it. It's kind of bad. And then he got really, you know, like he came into this kind of calm space with me. So that was pretty significant.
Did you ever read Terry Dobson's story?
Exactly.
I have read that story,
You have?
but this was totally not that story. It was a totally unique experience.
Anyway, yeah, but it was sounded like a very similar situation. Terry didn't do it, but the older guy did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Amy.
How we doing, people? You're getting a sense. Again, next week we will spend time calling up self, but not bad. We double checked our balance things. I think I clarified again how important it is to have a good squared away unit, so that self has will reference that back. If you're the unit, self is interested in you because it's you, you know. So it lines up well. I'm practicing these days because self is coming up, talking to selves. Bear with me. Talking to self. And some of the selves are not quite lined up. Okay. So can you follow what I'm trying to say here? I can call them, they'll be present, but some of them aren't really present. They're held back a ways. They really don't want to be here. There's a misunderstanding about something. So they not boom, here. Are you following? Some other selves come in, bing, boom, they're gangbusters. They're glowing right there. So apparently we have a variety of levels of self. Okay. And we'll get into that kind of shit later. Why did I bring that up? Anyway, squared away self. So next week, we'll try to call up self. And maybe we'll try the pattern of self talking to a finer level of self. I called it over self. Some people don't like anything being over them, so we won't use that word. Self talking to the finer level of itself. And we could try that pattern, see what that does for you. And it's also something I'm working on about different ways to approach self. So I'm kind of going over, if I want to ever lay out, here's the major best ways of going for self. Okay. Is it the self talking to a finer self pattern? Will that do it? Or is it the clear the decks, finer dimensional sense? Here comes self. Easy, clear the decks, boom, down. You're trading in all those energies. You're leaving a stage open for more or finer of self to be present. Will that be better or better for some people? There's another one I'm working on, but I forget what it is. Oh, core. I'm playing with tracking core through to self. You all know what a physical core plexus is, but I want to keep tracking that and seeing how that does for self. If some forms facilitate self showing better or what. So anyway, that's my work that I do during the week. Where the hell are we, people? Are we finishing up? You got anything semi-fantastic to say?
I wanted to say one thing, Sensei.
Wait a minute.
I would like to say.
I know that. I know that voice. There you are. Yeah.
Hi. What I learned from you tonight was, in terms of from last week to this week, when we did the chanting, when the circle wanted to do this chanting back to the core, I had to really wait for it. Last week, I was just like, Mima, and then I was just like right away back, and it was more in my mind. But today, it was like, oh.
You're starting to feel its tempo, could we say? It's
yeah.
Yeah.
That was
the
neat.
whole thing beats. I don't know how to say this. It beats da 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 da, but also beats da 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 da. It has a multitude of beats within itself. I don't know how to say it well, but yeah. See, anybody can say, "Here it comes, there it goes, here it comes, there it goes." But when you start to actually feel it, let's say, it's like, no, not yet. Wait, here, this one, boom, bang, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was very cool. Thank you, Sensei.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Yeah. My pizza's not here yet, people. So if you want to say anything. No, that's it.
We're coming up on 5 before 8. Anyone have any last comments?
Oh, I'd touch in if there's nothing happening, but
There's
it's not
the Richard
important.
Moon.
Well, you know.
You can't start a conversation with nothing happening, Richard.
The nothing happening is if there's nothing happening. I mean, if somebody's got a story they'd like to tell or a question they'd like to ask, I was just going to mention something about the video we talked about. So is there anyone? I don't want to step on anything.
The video, the French?
Yes.
Go ahead, Richard.
Okay. There were just, I'd shared it with everyone because I thought, well, it's just interesting to hear a guy tell stories about Hambu and OSensei, and I assume a lot of people who study Aikido would be interested. But Bob and I were talking about the video, and I was saying that the only part that caught me was his moments of description. And he said, somebody asked him, is this important to mankind? And he said, yes, it brings a lot in terms of self-control. I'm just going to highlight the words there for our play on it. During an attack, the reflex action comes into play, not the brain. So that was his way of talking about this shift from the I, if you will, or something like that. It's the concept of Zen Buddhism that tells us to make the void, to be the void and let the instinct come out. And I asked, I can't remember who, I forgot, Eric, I think, whoever, who speaks French, if he would give us a different translation to see if we get one. Anyhow, just mention that if there's anything you wanted to say about it or, you know.
No, because I'd have to add my use of certain words and sort of
And your piece was
correct
close.
his words and correct the locations of things. So no,
And your piece-
I won't say anything.
And we're
Your
out of
peop-
time for the evening, and
Yay,
I was gonna say
thank
your-
God.
leave
piece was
Richard
not that far away.
and Sensei to discuss that offline, as they say. Thank you, Richard. That's the Andre Noquette documentary about OSensei that you circulated the link.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. And Nadeau Sensei, thank you so much for a wonderful class again tonight. And good night, everyone, and see you all next week. We're
Thank you,
over and-
Sensei.
Over and out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you,
Night,
Sensei.
thank you.
Good night, Sensei. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Good night, everyone.
You-
Sense yourself.